Hello everyone and welcome to Quality Old Games. Today we are having a kind of special episode. We are doing a multiplayer battle in Medieval 2 Total War, and the battle is going to be England versus France. And it seems we have Anka 12 as our opponent. And it's time to proceed to selecting troops. So there you can see if you want to contact me on Steam. My profile name is Waku. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. But let's begin our troop selection here. And it seems we are having only early period units. So that kind of limits our options, but let's begin with general. And I think our strategy, France has really strong cavalry. Especially in later time periods, but I think in this time period as well. So we are going to need some decent spearmen to handle the cavalry. And then I usually prefer a defensive formation within which to bombard the enemy. So let's take some catapults to do exactly that. And then let's see, these Sherwood archers will likely do very much damage, and some peasant archers as well. And then let's take our own cavalry. These feudal knights are not so much better, or maybe they are. Maybe we'll take them, and then we will need some infantry to face enemy infantry. These dismounted feudal knights will work just fine. And then let's take some more peasant archers. And lastly, I'm wondering if I should take these levy spearmen. But since we have quite a bit of florins, maybe we should rather take the more expensive units, and then we can spend rest of our money to buff some unit up a bit. Let's see. Okay, and we are ready. Let's see if our opponent is ready. He seems to be. So it's time to begin the deployment phase.
Units, await my orders.
And the catapults will form the core of my formation. We shall put the Sherwood archers before them, or let's put them next to them if the enemy has also catapults, so their hits won't be that devastating. There. Then let's posit the peasant archers before them, and then the armored sergeants will protect these rows from enemy assaults. The heavy infantry, feudal knights, will cover our flanks. And these last two spearmen contingents will be a bit of a reserve here on the flanks. And the general will be behind the catapults, and our cavalry will act as a real reserve and make some maneuvers if needed. So it seems our opponent is still deploying his troops. If our catapults have enough range, we will begin bombarding the enemy right away. If not, then we will advance as far as needed for our catapults to begin the bombardment. And in that way, we have kind of two outcomes we are wishing. The first one is that we will inflict heavy casualties to the enemy formation. I don't think he's spread throughout the battle map. Okay, we have our enemy. He has also two catapults. Fortunately, we have superiority here. And as the enemy catapults are there, I think we should bring our catapults to the front and keep the rest of the formation in place. We will bring them as far as to be able to shoot the enemies. They have some cavalry, mailed knights on the right flank from their perspective, generals in the behind, and it seems armored sergeants are coming a bit forward, allowing us to start shooting. And as they are the flaming ammunitions, I think they are not as accurate as possible, so they might fly over and do some damage behind the actual lines as well. So now the enemy catapults are here as well, so we will focus on them and hope that we can take care of them before they will start shooting us too heavily. And the question is, should I switch to normal ammo when attacking the catapults? But let's see. Okay, at least one of those went down, and the enemy formations are taking quite heavy hits. It may be that the enemy is seeking to move forward. Okay, one of our catapults went down. It's time to move our troops a bit forward. And I think we can afford to engage the sergeants with at least one heavy infantry unit. Now that the fight is happening near us, the enemy risks shooting their own troops. And let's take a bit of a control of the bowmen. I don't think it's any more useful to shoot those enemy catapults, so let's focus on enemy archers. And it seems some enemy units are already fleeing. Excellent news. I'm a bit worried about this flank here. As the enemy cavalry is quite heavily in here. Let's try to force the enemy cavalry to engage. And then let's try to flank the enemy cavalry with our own cavalry. Then again, if we can drive the enemy away, we could try to flank their infantry. This position here opens some opportunities for us. And it seems the enemy cavalry is now beginning to engage us, or at least tries to draw us away from the battle here. Let's try to take down some of the enemy archers. And hopefully these spearmen will be able to hold the enemy cavalry back at least a bit. Apparently not. Maybe I was too reckless here. Okay. Some units are already fleeing. Let's try to strike the armored sergeants back here. And then our own spearmen can support us against the enemy cavalry. And let's... oh, not good. Not good at all. So we need to bring the general to help us.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
And luckily the cavalry isn't panicking anymore.
Lord have mercy, we've lost half of our men.
Oh, that was a decent hit from the enemy catapult. Okay. And now the enemy is routing pretty heavily. So maybe we could try to use our catapults to turn these melees here around. You guys are supposed to be firing there. Let's try to take down the enemy general.
By St. George, our men have slain the enemy general. Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
And then it seems the enemy has only one point of resistance left. Oh. Actually, some peasant crossbowmen are still fighting us. But now we can send these units here to reinforce the battle. And hopefully the archers will do also some decent damage here. And the catapults can fire as well. Actually, oh, these have used up their ammunition, okay. And let's move a bit off here. And the enemy is starting to break. Oh, where is that catapult shooting? Okay, but we have victory. Excellent. So it seems our strategy worked well enough. And the catapults were able to do some actually pretty decent damage. Even the servant archers and the general's bodyguards were kind of the MVPs of the match, as well as these feudal knights. And of course the infantry was able to hold the line pretty well. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Quality Old Games.